Hi, my name is Quang Lee. I introduced for student is Avery Wise. She studied master degree of ethnomusicology at UND, and I interview about Avery Wise, how interesting about ethnomusicology and music. Okay, introduce yourself.
Okay. Hi, my name is Avery Wright. I am a first-year PhD student in ethnomusicology here at the University of North Texas. I've been here for 4 years now because I also did my master's here, which took 3 years. So I started in 2020 during COVID, and then I graduated from my master's last year, and then I decided to continue on with my PhD degree, and I've got another maybe 4 years or so.
What inspired of you about study music and study ethnomusicology?
Well, I've had a long history with music. In high school, am a part of the high school band, the mariachi, the indoor drumline. I was always very interested in music from a young age, although my parents aren't musical at all. So this started really in high school. And then once it came time for graduation, I thought, well, why don't I just study music? Why don't I just become a band director? Like, that sounds fun. And so I decided to pursue music in my undergraduate studies, specifically music education with an emphasis in clarinet. And so I went to Texas A&M University, Kingsville for that. I started in 2016. And that was really great. I loved all the classes and enjoyed the degree. However, once it came time for graduation, I looked back on it all and I thought, well, I mean, I enjoy teaching students a lot, but I don't know if I necessarily want to be a band director after all. I felt that I really wanted to expand my horizons because I'm from a small town in South Texas, was around the same kind of Hispanic culture, Mexican culture growing up. And I thought I really wanted to see the world a little bit more. So I said, and I've always liked school. So I said, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and apply for a master's degree in ethnomusicology. Even at the time, I didn't know what ethnomusicology was. I had to consult with my musicology professor at the time. And I wasn't quite sure what I had wanted to study, because you need to have a research area. But I've always been into anime, Japanese anime, for a long time, since as far back as I can remember. And my professor said, you can study that if you want to. And I said, really? That's really cool. I think I want to do that. And then once I interviewed here, the professors liked the ideas and the thoughts that I had on Japanese anime music and various other things. So I got accepted, and then I started my master's degree here. And studying ethnomusicology thus far has been really great. It did essentially what I wanted it to do, was expand my horizons, learn more about the world, and kind of get out of this this comfortable space that I had been in for most of my life.
Yeah. Why did you take master degree of ethnomusicology at UND, and what plan after master graduation?
Yeah, so I applied to various other places, but UNT was the only one who had accepted me, maybe because of my limited familiarity with research in my undergrad in general. I had done some research-related projects, but I don't think it was enough to get into the very, like UCLA, like the top ethnomusicology schools and whatnot. But I had, for UNT specifically, I'd always really looked up to this school. And I remember even saying in high school, I had visited here once or twice as a part of some high school programs. And I loved the campus. I loved the energy around here. And I thought, I'm going to go to UNT someday. And everybody was like, oh my gosh, UNT is the best music school, in the nation, definitely in the state of Texas. That was what I had heard growing up. And I was like, oh, I really want to be here someday. Like, I really liked it. So I had this idea in my head that I'd always come back, which I forgot about until I started applying for master's programs. And I thought, maybe I can go to UNT like I had kind of dreamed about in high school. And then what do you know, I ended up making it here. And like I was mentioning previously, I love the ethnomusicology program. My professors here, they're all very supportive and fairly close with us. Always attending our conferences, conferences, events, concerts. So it's been a really great time here.
And do you send a message to students prepare for college after high school and interesting about music and ethnomusicology, and also bachelor graduation interesting about to take master degree and PhD?
Mm-hmm. So there's a lot to talk about here. First, I will say that honestly, like college isn't for everyone, and that's okay. My younger brother is currently not in college. He decided to go straight into the workforce after high school. So he was doing some construction, particularly road work. He was doing some of that. Now he's working as a large, like the big construction vehicles, but he's a mechanic for those currently. And he actually really enjoys working with his hands. So that has ended up working out for him somewhat, although I'm sure he'll try different avenues eventually. But the point is, I don't think he was ever really passionate about school. And that's, I'm the opposite. I'm very passionate about school and academics. And I've come to realize that like, that's totally fine if you're not interested in going to school. But if you want to, it will get you ahead in life in some ways. It definitely helps. It definitely helps you broaden your horizons, get to meet people, gives you a sense of like individual responsibility, living on your own for the first time. There are a lot of advantages to it. But again, if that's not for you, that's totally fine. Second, for people who are particularly interested in studying music is great. You've just gotta be very committed because it's never ending. Once you're learning an instrument and studying music, right? Whether it's music performance or music education as an undergraduate or a general music degree, you have to know an instrument in some way and you have to be trained in that. And there's always this idea that you can just, you're never good enough. You always consistently need to keep practicing and practicing. And so some people that might kind of turn them away, it gets quite hard at times, this idea that, well, I'm never going to be perfect and I'm constantly striving for that. Some people really thrive off of that mentality, and some people it's a little bit crushing at times because you're never going to reach that goal if you're an artist, if you're a performing artist, right? So I guess my advice is just be mindful of that and to just be passionate and very committed in what you're doing. Like I always give 100% to whatever endeavors I'm partaking in. And for ethnomusicology specifically, ethnomusicology is a degree that not a lot of people know about. It's commonly only available at the graduate level. So there are hardly any bachelor programs for this throughout the nation. Actually, UNT just created the, I believe it's Critical Music Studies in Society. I apologize, I can't quite remember the name at the moment. But we just created essentially a new bachelor's program that's meant to prepare students for graduate studies in music, whether they go a musicology or ethnomusicology route. And that has been it started this year and has been quite successful so far. I think we've got between 10 and 13 students involved. So there are programs like that, but there's not a lot. And back to ethnomusic, so programs like that really can prepare you very well for ethnomusicology. But besides that, really this is something that it seems like people end up kind of discovering later in life, or they hear about it kind of like I did, and they're like, I think I'd be interested in that. And for anybody wanting to go this route, I would recommend just being as open-minded as possible and trying to do your best to get through difficult readings and just really enjoying the content material that you're learning about. Because you're not just going to learn about your specific research interests, you're going to be learning about essentially all the music in the world, or as much as you can learn, right? So just being open and always being passionate about what you're doing.